Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Boom, boom, boom,
Welcome
boom.
back. Welcome back. I started thinking of that song. Welcome back. Welcome back. What? It's probably I'm sorry, probably starting to date myself. I think when bringing that up, but all good stuff. Yeah, good, 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 good. So glad to be back. Hello, Wendy. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
thanks for joining. So we're back again. Talking all things nursing, all things wellness. Talking about our exciting upcoming CT Nurse Wellness Summit. There's a lot of buzz happening around, the first. So this is the first and not the last, but one of many that we are bringing to the nurses in the state of Connecticut, because we recognize us both being nurses, obviously, but in this profession, how important the state of our well-being is. So excited for the opportunity to really bring out and talk about this conference and just sharing some of our insights and wisdom of not obviously talking about the conference, but just our experience too in being in this nursing profession for the time that we have been here. So, Wendy, what are some things that as this conference approaches that you're thinking of, excited about just bringing to the forefront? Yeah, your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm thinking so today I had this thought that the world is so noisy right now.
Mm,
There's so much going on in the world, and I think a lot of us are in the mode of just kind of surviving and kind of doing the things and in our routines. And I'll speak for myself. I know I am.
mm,
I'm a nurse who's all about wellness and stress management. Um, but life is lifing. There's a lot going on. I always talk about
mm,
external stressors. Politics is definitely an external stressor. There's a lot going on in the world, and especially being in healthcare as a healthcare professional, um, we're seeing that impact, right?
mm,
And I'm also in oncology, so we
mm.
already have that emotional strain that taking care of cancer patients. But in addition to the world being so noisy and just so much, and I feel almost stifled a little bit. I
Mm,
feel a little, and I'm getting that from a lot of nurses as well, and a lot of healthcare professionals that they feel the pressure. But one thing we do when we feel the pressure, we keep going.
mm,
And I think the significance of that related to, the summit is it is a time for us to really breathe and decompress and
mm.
figure out what layers we want to put on,
Yeah.
after leaving that conference. But I think people need capacity and some room to just think, breathe, be, and
Mm,
reset. Uh,
yeah.
and I know we're talking about the conference. That's why we're on here, live. But this is something that I think we need to do more of, just to have that awareness, and again, create that community for each other, because we all understand, right, what we're all going through. But
Absolutely.
that's really the essence of this summit is to give nurses that space.
Mm, yeah. Oh, so many things that you just said there, Wendy. Agree with so much, especially I think in this time now with the world being so noisy, like there
Mm.
is so much that is happening. And I think for many of us, we feel like we have to take it all in. Like there's just so much like if I don't take it all in, then I'm ignoring or I'm being oblivious or I'm not being part of I'm being more part of the problem and not the solution because I'm not always on and actively engaged. And not to say that those things aren't important, but I do know what also is true is being able to also protect your peace. I mean,
Yeah.
I can speak from a personal experience. I think, in 2020, with the start of like COVID and all of the other, unrest that was happening during that period in time too, like I found myself like I was locked in, like news was on 24/7. It was just like I couldn't, take in enough. And what I realized was how much when we talk about just, things that settle within us, it's not just about what you take as far as like the food, but it's through all of your senses, how that gets really felt and like left in the body. So all of the things that you're taking in through your senses, the stuff that you're seeing, the stuff that you're hearing, all of that over time really starts weighing on you. And I realized for myself during that period of time, like how much that I was carrying with that. Like I felt so heavy. I felt so, because again, you're trying to process so much information that it's really unfathomable. Like you're not meant to process the amount of information I think that we receive on a regular basis. And it was interesting. I remember it was my daughter said to me at the time, I actually may have been like 12 or so. She was just like, we got in the car and it was like my routine is I just cut the news on because I got to know what's happening in the news. And she was like, Ma, like really? Like the news in the car? And it wasn't until then that it was like, oh, like I'm doing this like a lot, to the point that they're noticing, like it's so much. So to your point, there's so much that is happening. Like there's a lot of noise, and it's the recognizing like there's it's like this balance of like, all right, yes, there's some I need to take in, but I don't need to take it all in like all day, every day. Like knowing when to, all right, maybe it's not me on social media, but maybe I need to read it, and not just, keep scrolling while I'm receiving this all the time, just for my own peace. And it doesn't mean that I'm negating or I'm not being, doing my part and being present in it. But, it's that recognizing when you have to protect your own peace in that as well, too. So I think to your point with the summit, it is that reminder, because we do get locked into, what else is happening in the world because everybody else is doing, and that's what everybody else is seeing. So it's very easy for that to be our pattern. So it's like this breaking the pattern of recognizing that, yeah, I don't have to be on all the time, and that there is a sense of community. To the other thing that you said, like, I think community is so important. And that's what we're really looking to build with the summit, is understanding that there are other nurses out here who, yeah, we feel it. We are feeling all the extra pressures from healthcare itself, but also what's happening in the world. But we're here in terms of like supporting each other in a positive way. So I think that is so crucial and so important in that aspect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree. And I think it's to the point where we know we need to do it, but then how do we get at what I call, when I'm doing my presentations on stress, like that stress cycle, like how do you get out of it once you're already in it? So it's utilizing the tools to reset, to get out of there, right? Because we all enter that cycle every now and then, depending on what's going on. Like a life just happens, right? You have work, you have kids, you have spouse or spouses. Not just
that's a whole separate topic and show. Like no judgment here, whatever it is, whatever it is, it's all good.
It's so funny. I said it because I was watching a show and it was talking about polygamy, and I was like, okay, no judgment. Okay, that's why. Okay, anyway,
whatever is your thing is your thing. So
right.
Hey.
We have, depending on our age, like aging parents. Like for me personally, like I have a mom who is aging, who has dementia. I have a husband. I have children. I have two.
I like how you emphasize with the one husband, in case anybody had any other ideas from what I said. I just want to clarify.
Yeah. But it's, like all those things wrapped in one. And the thing that happens is that, they all just happen. You're not aware when they happen. So you're not aware of like when you're in the cycle. Sorry, my dog is blind.
I was going to say something.
He's running into a bag because he can't see it. Oh my goodness. Sorry.
I was going to say, it seems like somebody's shuffling in the back over there. It sounds like a dog. I hear
he's running into the paper bag. Poor thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Yeah. And one other thing, I want to say this. I think, we all talk about wellness and nurses and well-being, but this summit's going to be a little different. And I say that because we want to have those open and real discussions, and it will be a wellness experience, but we really want to talk about those things that no one's talking about, right? Around why we need a wellness summit, right, in Connecticut.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really having those conversations can be very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you said there about like it's, the reason for even, needing this summit, I think, is also important of like us having these conversations. I think we talked about on our prior time together about just a lot of the things that we may have been conditioned in like in nursing school. So these weren't even discussions that we were having about your well-being. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's about you're here for the patients. Like that is just like your role is making sure that you don't, harm anybody with the patients, which all that stuff is very important. But it was like you as a person yourself was not in the forefront of what that meant. And it's a part of those discussions and focus. And I think now what we're seeing is those conversations are shifting because understanding that, for any organization, like your people have to be well in order for you to have an organization. So it's not as wellness as, oh, it's just this nice perk and it's a thing that we just do, maybe once a week when we celebrate you in Nurses Week, or it's a gratitude month or, gratitude day. And I'm supposed to do these things at this time. So I'm checking this box as opposed to really focusing on how is it that this is really embedded in the culture. So those are conversations that I think that really need to be had because it's not just these things that we just throw at the wall and just see what sticks. Like, oh, let's try this little perk and oh, let's try this. But what are we doing underneath that as an organization to make sure that these things are really foundational for us? What are your thoughts on that, Wendy?
Yeah, I agree. I was just thinking that, we talked about organizations having wellness programs and doing wellness initiatives, and it's a one and done. But I think it's good to allocate finances for nurses to kind of pick how they want to allocate the money, right? Like just because you have a a well-being program at your institution, like that's it. That may not be it for the. So I think about my my cancer patients, right? Like a lot of them don't like going to support groups that are at their infusion center, right? Because that's where the issue is. But go to
Interesting. Yeah.
or outside of that. So I'm saying that to say that organizations should, one, yes, your well-being programs are important, but also allowing your nurses to have the freedom to have a certain amount of capital to spend on a summit or a yoga subscription or something like that. And I know some organizations pay for you to have your license renewed, and I think that allocation should be increased.
Yeah.
So we can really focus in on
point.
wellness
Yeah.
because your wellness programs may not be doing it for them. And that's the thing. I think, wellness programs are good. I think it is good to have it as a foundation, but it's not individualized. Like we talk about individualized, personalized care. It should be the same thing for nurses, right?
Yeah.
What works for that nurse is really important, and not just saying, oh, we're checking the box, because we do have a wellness program, a wellness director, and we get them pizza, for Nurses Week or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
I totally understand what it is that you're saying. And I mean, to add to that, I mean, it's so profound and so true. Like a lot of times there is just this, almost like this push to be able to say that, yes, we've done the things. I know the wellness thing was big. So we hired ourselves, whether it's a chief wellness officer or whatever, the title that we wanted to give this person. And then it's almost like we've put the responsibility of wellness onto this one person. So we now have gotten it. They handle all things, what it is wellness, but there isn't any there's a disconnect between what this wellness person is doing, because they're not I don't know if any of them are, but in terms of miracle workers where they could change over whole organizations. I mean, but that still requires some buy-in from the rest of the leadership. So you can have this wellness person who's trying to do all the things. And then to your point, when there isn't any engagement from the actual, in our case, in nurses, like nurses don't have any input about, what are some of the things that I want to see, not just putting a program in place, but there's no feedback. Like, is this working? Is this helpful? Am I even using whatever this platform is that we've, signed up for? Is any of these things actually beneficial? So, there are a lot of things. I think obviously there's definitely some positiveness with the wellness programs, but I feel like they have become just these boxes that organizations are checking, saying, yes, we have the thing. We were supposed to have the thing, and we have the thing. You check that box, check. So it's like, what's the next layer of that? So it's, the other thing I think about with this summit, granted there's organizational, responsibilities, but also as individuals. So what we are also focusing on, even with the summit, is bringing it back to nurses to say, hey, here are some things, like, in spite of whatever it is your organization is doing, here are things for you that you can do, starting today, for yourself, that allow you, again, to live well and to be able to grow and nurture your own development, but both personally and professionally. So I think that piece of it is really a keen reminder there too.
Absolutely. And I think we're coming down to time, but I do have a giveaway. I did say that yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So the giveaway I have is I would like to give away 2 tickets to the summit.
Okay.
On me.
Okay.
on me. So, the first 2 nurses who comment below will receive a complimentary ticket to the CT Wellness Summit.
Oh, that is exciting. I was like, if I wasn't already going to be there, I'd be like, ooh, let me comment right now to make sure that I get in there.
So first 2 nurses, and you have to be in Connecticut, all right? Or you can fly in, right? You can fly in.
If you want to fly in to be a part of, that is also acceptable as well too. But that is an awesome giveaway. Like I said, if I wasn't already going to be in the place and in the building, this would be definitely a thing that I'd be commenting on quickly, so that I can make sure that I get in the room where it's going to happen. Yeah.
Yes, Collaborative Cancer Care is going to sponsor 2 nurses to actually come to the summit, because, Collaborative Cancer Care, one thing we do there is we take care of cancer patients and caregivers. And it's important that the nurses who interact with our patients are well, right?
Absolutely. Thank you, Collaborative Cancer Care.
You're welcome. You are welcome.
We appreciate that. And so appreciate that support. So make sure, people should be jumping on that. That is a very awesome opportunity. And like I said, if I wasn't already going to be in the room where it happens, I would definitely be commenting. Yes, me, please.
So comment below, and then I will send you a message, and we'll get you connected, get you what you need. And so that is my giveaway for today. And who knows, we may be giving some other things away tomorrow.
Yeah, you have to stay tuned to see what is next on the agenda. But it is always an amazing time to connect. Again, CT Nurse Wellness. If you want to get your tickets, or if you're actually interested in maybe some, group inquiries, you can email us at hello@ctnursewellness.com. And to get your tickets, it is at summit.ctnursewellness.com. So make sure that you pass the message on, invite a friend, bring a friend if you're already coming, but say, hey, like, this will be a great opportunity for a group of you to join together and connect in a space that sees you, and, we want to acknowledge and recognize you. So happy to have you join.
Someone, email us, right? You can sponsor.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. If you like, I'm watching this. I'm not a nurse, but I love nurses and I appreciate what nurses are doing. But how can I help? Yes, that's how you can help. You can sponsor a nurse. So email us at hello@ctnursewellness.com.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, until tomorrow, same time, same place.
Yes. We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.